News Talk 1340 KROC-AM. This is Broad Talk. An unusual day because, well, people are on assignment.
They are.
Where did Karen
or
go
they're
now?
ditching us. I don't know.
She's off
Arizona.
About again.
Yes.
Listen, she has to get her priorities straight. Does
Really?
she want to start traveling like she's retired, or does she want to be with us?
I know. We
For
need to
1 hour
hit her up
once
on that. Come on.
Got to pin her
Come
down.
on, Karen.
So Karen's on assignment. Joy is on assignment too. But that's okay. We'll see her next week.
Yeah.
I like to get into the joy here every week thing
Oh, you too.
because it makes me happy. And isn't that what matters?
Exactly. It's
If
all
we
about
can be
making us
happy,
happy.
Burton.
Yep.
Okay, so Burton, you give me your update. What's going on in your life?
Well, we were just talking about this. I accidentally took double meds yesterday, double tamoxifen, and I've learned that's not a good thing to do. And thankfully, there were no casualties in the wake of that because as the day went on, I progressively got more and more irritable, and I could feel it. And I was like, oh, I just need to keep my mouth shut. I mean, I was just getting really irritated at like everything, everybody talking. Anything was just like I was hypersensitive. I'm like, I just need to go home, and I couldn't.
That's what tamoxifen does. It
Well, it
one of
jacks
the
with your
side
hormones,
effects,
right? You know,
right?
so I don't know what was going on in my body, but I just felt a lot more irritable. I'm a pretty easygoing person,
No, heavens no.
you know, and so, and to feel that just, you know, a little on edge, and
Could have just gone home.
I couldn't. I had one of those
You're
nights where
working.
I was
Oh.
working, and you know, and I'm like, okay, I need to leave, and I went to car to dive and made dinner, and then I had to run around in the evening,
Right.
and so it was like 9:00 by the time I really got to like ramp down. And I was like, okay, Phil, just really don't talk to me
Do you know what? Let's
for
just-
your safety.
We need to just go back a couple of steps. What really should have happened is that you and I should be in Arizona with Karen.
There we go.
Think that would be a lot easier.
Well, yeah,
It all
I
makes
agree.
sense
Hey, we
now.
could call the show in, right?
We just find an old show.
There we go.
Andy
The best
Brownell
of.
does not
I'm
want
sure
it.
we have
Yeah,
the best. Of.
Yeah, we tell I'm going to be gone, Andy, for you to host Broad Talk, and there's no broads around. So you just go ahead and
Do what
pull
you want.
something. Yeah, fine.
There you go.
Go find some of the sales girls downstairs and bring them up here.
Which is he ever going to host us again? Because
No.
did we scare the crap out of him?
No, it's not. It's very uncomfortable,
Oh,
as you can imagine. It might be. I don't know. It's the power of women,
I guess.
to be sure. We do have a couple of guest broads that are with us today. Cindy Kahn is here. Good morning, Cindy.
Good morning.
Happy to have you back in the studio.
Thank you.
And Samantha Rother is here from the American Cancer Society. Welcome to the studio, Samantha.
Thank you, Tracy.
And welcome to town.
Thank you.
So you said you just moved to Rochester. How long have you been here?
Well, I've been here about 9 months or so.
Okay.
So I consider myself new. I hear that lots of people here in Rochester have been here a little bit longer than 9
little
months.
bit.
Just a little.
Okay, so did you move to Rochester for this job, or somebody you know had a job, or what happened?
I did. I moved here for this job to work for the American Cancer Society. I started a long time ago as a volunteer, worked my way up through the ranks with Relay for Life, and now I'm working for ACS. This is my third year here, but my first year here in Rochester. So
Okay.
met a lot of great people, enjoying town, the Med City.
Oh, that's cool.
Where'd you come from?
I came from Red Wing, so just up the
Oh,
road.
Not too far away.
Red
Have a lot of
is
love
beautiful.
for Red Wing too. But
Yeah.
Well, southeastern Minnesota, it's hard to beat.
Right.
The way I look at it.
absolutely, especially this time of year.
Okay,
Exactly.
tell us. Well, you know what? We'll take a break, and then we'll come back, and we'll talk about why Cindy and Samantha are here. It is, just a hint, October is Breast Cancer Survivor Month and Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Mhm.
So that's a hint about why they're here. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. Carol's Corn and Carol's Cup in the subway of the Kaler Grand Hotel and out at Apache Mall in the food court. Now, you'll remember last week, Pat sent me a message and said, we've got
About the
pumpkin,
pumpkin, mhm.
yogurt. So we actually were out at the mall. About once a year we go to the mall. And I said, well, since we're here, we have to go to the Carol's Cup stand. So we went out there and other family members didn't want to take the plunge into pumpkin, but I felt like it was my duty
Well,
to
yeah.
try some pumpkin.
Well, and you love pumpkin.
I
so.
know. Well, it's got to be good pumpkin, though.
Yeah,
That's the key.
definitely.
Because you can take
You're a pumpkin snob.
way off the rails. But this was good. And, you know, he said he put pomegranate on it, but right next to it was the pomegranate sour, which I like. So I took an Ann Burton cup and put the little divider in there and put a little bit of each.
Very good.
And pumpkin is good with Snickers on it. I'm just saying.
Well,
Just
why wouldn't
in,
it be?
In case you'd be interested, I suppose it would have been more like a pumpkin pie if I would have put graham crackers or something, but that's the deal. You can choose it however much you want,
Yep.
top it any way that you want, and then you just weigh it. You pay what it weighs. is how
So
it
good.
works. Yeah.
I had their kettle corn yesterday, which I absolutely love.
And that's from Carol's Corn, of course. Find Carol's Corn and Carol's Cup in the subway of the Kaler Grand Hotel and Carol's Cup second location out at Apache Mall in the food court. KROC-AM. News Talk 1340 KROC-AM. This is Broad Talk on KROC. Burton is here, and our special guests, Cindy Kahn and Samantha Rother of the American Cancer Society, here to talk about Making Strides, correct?
Correct.
Tell me all about it, Samantha.
Well, Making Strides is taking place this Saturday at Mayo Park here in Rochester. We're so excited to be getting in on the celebration of all of our breast cancer survivors during Breast Cancer Awareness Month and continue to finish the fight against cancer as we fight back. The American Cancer Society is raising money for research as well as our patient programs, and we'd like to invite everyone to join us this Saturday for our Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk, a 3-mile walk here in Rochester.
What time does it start?
Registration at 7:30.
Okay.
And the walk starts at 9 a.m.
All right. And Burton, you did this. You've done this.
I
in
did
the
this
past.
last year.
year.
Yeah. I did.
How many breast cancer survivors were there last year? How many?
Were you there last year?
I was
There was
there
probably
last year.
was there like 30 maybe?
I'm thinking
25 to
between 30. Yeah.
Because you came up to the front and
Sure.
told how long you'd been a survivor, etc.
Excellent. It's fun. It is fun. That's a weird way to say it, but it's fun to be with that group of survivors.
Yeah.
I feel that way at the Relay for Life too.
Right.
Like we always get to do the first lap, and I'm always like, woohoo!
Yep.
That's us, cancer survivors.
Which, it's taken me a little while to kind of embrace that
It's weird.
role. Cindy, did that take a little while for you to?
It did, yeah, because you don't. It was really hard for me in that role because when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, I had a sister that was diagnosed with colorectal cancer 4 months later.
Oh, wow.
Oh my goodness.
And she passed away. And so for me to be a survivor, it's the whole survivor's guilt thing,
Right.
Well,
Well, especially in that situation.
yeah. So, but it is hard to think of yourself as a survivor because sometimes you just want to put the journey behind you and
Yep.
say, okay, I'm done now. I want to move on
Yep.
with the next stage.
Right.
But you also want to support everybody that you know
Well, and celebrate
and celebrate. Yes.
that you're a survivor.
Yes.
I spoke to somebody the other day that's 11-year survivor, and she's like, I really don't tell people. And I was like, okay, I don't, why?
Yeah, because people love to hear that. And especially newly diagnosed breast
Right.
cancer. We love to hear someone that's
Right.
11 years. 20, I know a couple of women that are like 29-year survivors.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And so it gives you hope
Right.
that, okay, this is
I can do
okay.
this.
I
Yep.
can do this.
The American Cancer Society hosts the picnic the first Sunday of June, which is National Cancer Survivors Day. And everybody always puts on their ribbon, your name tag, how many years you have been there. Did you go this year?
Yes,
Were
I
you
did.
there? Okay.
I love that one.
So I love it because the first one of those that I ever went to, I was a 7-year survivor, and I was in line with little old ladies who had, 30 and 40 year. And that means they were treated. It was just horrific, the treatment that they
Right.
endured.
Yes.
And I should also say the men that were there that would talk about the different cancers that somebody who is elderly and has a 30 or 40 year cancer history has got quite a story to tell. And it's interesting that now, I'm not a breast cancer survivor, but I'm, 99 was when I was diagnosed. So when you get together and you just talk with people about how long it has been, the point of you saying, the first thing you say is, I'm 11 years, or I'm 8 years in your case, Cindy. There are some people, if they're newly diagnosed, that their eyes start to tear. I mean, they can't even believe that you're so far past where they are right now.
Yes.
Right.
So you, Cindy, talk quite a bit about being a breast cancer survivor. It's not something that you're afraid to talk about.
No, I talk about it to anybody that will listen to me.
And are you, you've been in here before. Do you work with the mentor program? Or what are different ways that you help people?
I work with, we do a support group at
Okay.
Hope Lodge.
Okay.
Once a month. And it's all for breast cancer women.
Right.
And we get a lot of people from out of Rochester that are staying at the Hope Lodge. And last night, actually, we were at a survivors dinner. We had 46 survivors at a dinner last night that we did. And so I do a lot of mentoring, women that are newly diagnosed. So I really enjoy that. I mean, to hear their stories and to see how far treatment has come, even in the 8 years.
I was going to just say, what has changed in 8 years?
Yeah. The big thing that I notice is the fact that they are doing a lot of chemo before surgery now. Back when I was diagnosed, I had the surgery right away and then the chemo. And so that's a total flip-flop. And it's just really, you think, oh, is it better now? Maybe my treatment wasn't right.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's with me being, over 25 years out, that absolutely has happened. Because when I was diagnosed, I had a lymphoma. The usual course of treatment was just radiation. But because they couldn't tell how far mine had progressed, I had chemotherapy in addition to radiation. And now today, not only have they changed the name of the cancer that I had, which I think that means you've been around a long time when your cancer has gone through a name change, rebranding. But those people never get radiation. They go straight to chemotherapy, and that's the change of course. So as you get farther out, you will notice that. You'll hear, man, that isn't how I was treated.
Yeah.
And it's because of people like you, though, that they know better on how to help women live longer.
Yes. And, when I went through my treatment, too, I was also on a study. And so, yeah, it's like you're not a guinea pig. They're giving you good treatment, but it just helps so that, I'm hoping that, the new studies they do, survival rates will continue to climb.
Right.
Can you, either one of you, talk a little bit more about that survivor's guilt that you were mentioning? Cindy, you are 8 years out, and you're just a couple of years out.
I'll be 3 years diagnosed in November.
All right. So tell me a little bit about your survivor's guilt. If you have it or if you don't.
Well, I don't know if mine was like guilt. I mean, I can see in your situation with your sister, it was just my personality is I don't like to be the center of attention and call attention to myself. And I felt like by saying that, I was like, hey, look at me,
Yeah.
And that's just outside of my personality, believe it or not. I mean, I know I'm outgoing and stuff. I don't like the focus on me. And the only person that I had known closely with breast cancer had died. And so I had that sample size of 1. And I thought, holy cow, but to hear more people share their stories was helpful. And so I think I can be helpful to people by sharing my story and giving them hope and putting it out there that, there's all these different things and there's so many different cancers and everybody's treatment is different and the effects of everything on them is different. But you have that common bond of, you've gone through this and you fought it and you fought hard and yay, we're survivors.
Definitely.
Let's celebrate this and stuff. And it even took me a few days after I was diagnosed to say the words breast cancer. I would say the name of the tumor, and that was safer for me than to admit, because breast cancer seemed like so big and so overwhelming that I wanted to kind of compartmentalize it and make it a little more manageable.
Yeah, I didn't want to share mine with anybody and then we had gone to the doctor and he's like, so I don't know, are you guys sharing this? And I'm like, no. And my husband's like, well, yeah, I think more people, because he just needed to talk to people. Right.
See, my husband was a flip-flop. He's like, okay, I don't want to tell anybody. I was like, no, we are so telling people because I want people to know what's going on and have the support and so forth. And I think it's very healthy to share.
I think so, too, because then you do get the support and the support helps you so much along the journey. I mean, it just... You know that you're not the only one that's going through this, and you actually form some great new friendships that, people you wouldn't have known in your normal life because your paths would have never crossed. But through breast cancer, they do, and so you have that common bond, and it just makes those friendships so much more special.
Kids have that opportunity all the time. A new school year starts, they get a new batch of kids that they can start being friends with, and I always think it's funny that adults will say, "Oh, this whole new group of friends that I never knew I had," and because of your circumstances, now it puts you into this group where you can make some new friendships that you never knew that you had. Whatever the circumstance might be, lots of times it's something that is trying or difficult, but that's where some great friendships can be formed.
Well, just the instant bond. I mean, I come in contact with a lot of patients that go through the clinic and like, oh, I'm a breast cancer survivor too. And then that just lets the walls down. And then I hear about their story or give them a little...
because they're right in the middle of the hurricane at that point.
Usually.
And that is what October is all about, breast cancer awareness. And there's probably no way to gauge it or to, see if it's a fact or not. But I would have to imagine that the more women talk about being a breast cancer survivor and that it's difficult. It's not a walk in the park, but it's something that we can get through together and make new friendships from it. There are some people who are so afraid to go in and have their mammogram done that maybe that can be the one little thing that makes them go, well,
Yep.
it's not so much because it's the fear of the unknown that keeps them from doing that. That's the benefit of everyone sharing their stories.
Right. And I had a few friends that actually saw one lady up in the Gonda building after I'd been diagnosed. And it's like, hey, what are you doing here? She goes, I'm getting my mammogram because of you.
Wow. Good for you, Burton. The Making Strides Walk is this Saturday. We'll talk a little bit more about it when we return, but it's already time for the news break.
Woo.
It is, 46 degrees and sunny. This is Broad Talk on KROC-AM. News Talk 1340 KROC-AM. This is Broad Talk. We are less than 1 month away till elections.
Exactly.
When we can have, what's her name, back to join us.
And this is her song.
Gosh. People go, why isn't she on? I said, well, when you run for office, you can't be on the radio.
Yep.
Unless we invited everybody who's in that office race, which could be a little awkward. It
could be.
Or entertaining. Burton is here. Everyone else is on assignment. But Cindy and Samantha are here, too, from the Making Strides Walk for the American Cancer Society. Cindy, an 8-year breast cancer survivor. Samantha, the girl from the American Cancer Society.
That girl.
No, but here's what's great about that. You said when you got started that you were just a volunteer at the ACS, and it just got you going, and now it's your living. So tell me a little bit about why you volunteered at the ACS.
Sure. My story started here in Rochester. My grandma was a lung cancer patient. She received her treatment here at Mayo Clinic. We spent a lot of time in the subways, which when I was 5 or 6, I thought was the greatest thing ever.
It's a pretty cool place.
Yeah, underground, probably walking by hers.
Yep.
But that's how we got started, and the American Cancer Society helped my grandma, and we got involved through Relay for Life, wanting to give back as a team member. My mom was a team captain, was a part of the volunteer committee.
And the Red Wing Relay for Life is awesome.
Yes.
I've been to it before. It's very good. Yeah, it's really old.
Too bad I didn't know you then, Tracy. It is really old.
They're
26 or 27 now.
Right. So I think that they actually might have even been doing some sort of stroll walk thing before the American Cancer Society developed the Relay for Life. Is that right? Do I have my history right?
It's not quite right, but it's close.
It's close.
So Relay
I knew that
for
they've
Life,
been doing it forever.
Yes. Relay for Life will be on its 30th year. It started in Tacoma, Washington.
Oh.
Dr. Gordy Klatt.
One guy.
Yes, one guy in short shorts and knee socks. He ran around the track.
So this in the 80s.
Yes, in the 80s. Ran around a track for 24 hours and invited his friends to come out for half an hour and support him with financial contributions. And one man started an event that grew into the largest fundraising event in the country, Relay for Life. Some of the women who started the event in Red Wing had met Dr. Gordy Klatt at an American Cancer Society event and brought it back to the community where they wanted to get it up and going, and so they started calling it the Mississippi Shuffle before the event.
That's right.
Swept the
I was going to say the stroll, but that's Dodge County has the Dodge County
Dodge
stroll.
Dodge County, they call theirs the stroll.
This is also a long-standing walk in the area.
Yes, and great. If you're in the area and next summer, check it out.
I started off as an honorary survivor for the Relay for Life and then became like a publicity chair and then a chair and then a co-chair and then been part of this for a long time. And then I had a kid and said, I'm sitting out now for a little while.
Yeah, that's okay too.
That's right.
But we see you out at a lot of our events and celebrating as a survivor, and we appreciate that.
Yeah, we were talking during the commercial break. One of the things about being such a long time survivor, and I always have to say, not a breast cancer survivor, because I have been asked, you know how sometimes women will be like, oh, yeah, somebody asked me today if I was pregnant. I just, don't ever ask a woman if she's pregnant kind of thing. There's a version of that is like, don't ever ask a woman, oh, you're a breast cancer survivor. Will you come? No, I'm actually not. These are just mine. People think, oh, look, that's why you have such a flat. No, it's just mine. So, yeah, I had a lymphoma. And as I was saying before, I've had it was so long ago they changed the name of it. But one of the things that is cool about being such a long time cancer survivor is that I was around back when people didn't know there was such a thing as a survivor. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of cool because people would say, the first thing that people always asked was about your hair. Did you lose your hair? Because by that point, it was in the past. And so that was one of the things I know, and I understood that losing your hair was a big deal. And I know that it is a huge deal for people. I've even heard women say, I don't want to do a mammogram because if I get cancer, I don't want to lose my hair. As if there's some control piece that comes into that. But the fact that that is part of what surprises people, or one of the things that is a marker for people. But being able to say that you're a cancer survivor was a big deal. People didn't know what that meant, what they meant by that. And so now when you guys, being 2 years and 8 years out, almost 3, get to say that you're a cancer survivor, you kind of get a sisterhood of the whole thing.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And so, Cindy, when at the Making Strides Walk this Saturday, again, it's at Mayo Park, starting registration at 7:30 and the walk at 9. Do you have some of your girlfriends that maybe you said you all went out to dinner last night, and there was how many years of breast cancer survivorship
400
total?
400 and
my friend
some?
400 and some years.
Yeah.
Altogether when you count everybody up. And how many women were there?
46.
Wow.
Yep.
So that's not too bad.
That's not too bad.
A lot of 10 years in there.
Yes.
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 So what else do you tell people when you're over at Hope Lodge and you have your support groups? What are some of the things that you help people with?
One of the big things we do is there is life after cancer, because cancer treatments are very tough. And a lot of the women, they're going through the muscle aches and the tiredness, and it's like, nope, it will stop, and you will feel good again. And then you learn to go on, and your life changes. Mm-hmm. You never get to go back to be the person you were.
You have to find the new normal.
Yes,
that's what I like to say.
The new normal. And sometimes the new normal is better than the old normal. Right. I mean, and it's a cliche, but you do learn not to sweat the small stuff.
Oh, definitely.
You just take life as it comes, because you're like, I've already had the worst thrown at me, so now I can deal with things. Mm-hmm. And it makes a difference in your mindset.
And when you had kind of touched on this earlier, when somebody says, or maybe it was you, Burton, that said, oh, well, that was not my experience. If you, maybe you just have a lumpectomy, maybe you have radiation, maybe you start chemotherapy before you do any surgery. It's always kind of awkward when you're awkward. I don't know if that's the right word, but when you say, oh, yeah, that wasn't my deal. And you kind of sit around and go, well, how was your experience? Tell me your experience. And you all go, yeah, that wasn't my deal.
Yep. Yeah. Well, it's also different depending on which kind of cancer you have, the treatment and how far along it is, and so forth, which always I have in the back of my mind where, I caught mine stage 1. But my doctor said, 6 months, if you didn't come in right away, but a whole different story.
Yes.
And that's scary. That's why it's like, stay on top of it. Those mammograms, those checks, whatever, because he's like, your story would have been totally different if you'd have waited. And I'd had a mammogram 7 months before that. So it's scary, but
and
that's
stay
on top of it.
Why, like the Making Strides Walk, it's important because it gets breast cancer out in the community, and still the best treatment for breast cancer comes from early detection.
Mm-hmm.
And 85% of breast cancer comes in women that do not have the breast cancer gene and have no family history. So we want to make women aware. Get your mammograms starting at age 40. And even at age 30, every 3 years you should have a breast exam by a physician or a licensed caregiver. And plus, do your own, because women know their own breasts.
Right.
They're the ones that are going to notice changes.
I always joke about that with my history, then I'm in for mammograms and MRIs, and people I'm like best friends with everybody at the breast clinic. I'm one of those frequent buyer cards. I should have a punch card, but I always joke with them that back when I was a teenager, and I thought, I wish that wish I get bigger boobs. I wish I could. And I said, back in the day, nobody would pay 2 cents of attention at my chest. And now everybody wants to take a look. I love it. Sure. The more people that take a look, the better my odds are that something will get caught.
You have to just get over that prudishness, I guess, when you're going through that. I'm like, I flashed my breast so many times during radiation. And I'm like, what, here, yep, you see them.
When you go to the breast clinic and there's that secondary waiting room where all the women are in their paper gowns, I always just think, can we just have an area where we don't even have to worry about these paper gowns? Just like, just give me a magazine. I know there's some people that need to have the cover, whatever. Just save it. Don't do the laundry. Worry about it. It's 10:45 at KROC. We need to take a quick break. Oh, and I need to talk about Victoria's Restaurante and Wine Bar, because Okay, well, it's not Christmas yet. Even though I got new snow boots and maybe I'm a titch bit excited for winter now.
I noticed.
Just a titch. But Christmas and the holidays and all of those different family gatherings where you're going to be going, and you need a new shoes and new sweater and got to be all Christmased up. Take off of your plate what you're going to serve, because Victoria's can take care of it for you.
Definitely.
Catering is the best thing that was ever invented.
I think so.
Especially if the catering is from Victoria's.
Absolutely.
So the reason why is if you just say, oh, yeah, we just want to have breadsticks and spaghetti. It's just a whole bunch of, the track team is coming over. Great, they can take care of that. Or if you say we're doing the whole holiday corporate Christmas dinner, appetizers, salad, entrees, your choice of multiple entrees and desserts, maybe.
Chocolate cake.
See, Burton and I are there. We say put the desserts out first.
You're the tiramisu.
Right.
I'm the chocolate cake.
Yeah, that's why when you go someplace and they've got them staggered around, like let's sit next to each other.
Right.
Victoria's Restaurante and Wine Bar. Call them today. You don't need to book anything today, but call them today just to find out some details about how they might be able to help you this holiday season. Maybe even if everyone's coming to your house, you don't want to do all the cooking. Giant tray of lasagna.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the Karen Kennedy solution.
Yes, it is.
She will go get that from other people. God, we love that girl.
The pasta feeds.
Yeah, that's right. Victoria's Restaurante and Wine Bar, downtown Rochester. News Talk 1340, KROC-AM. This is Broad Talk. Burton is here. Cindy Kahn is a 8-year cancer survivor. Samantha Rother is from the American Cancer Society. And we're talking about the Making Strides Walk. It's this Saturday. How many years has it been? Is it like 4 or 5?
This is the 5th or 6th
In Rochester.
Yes,
Yeah.
in Rochester.
All right, so registration starts at 7:30 and the walk is at 9. You do not have to be a breast cancer survivor. You can just show up and support everybody. The weather's going to be perfect. It's a 3-mile walk.
Absolutely.
No
Get out there
problem.
on one of those
If you go on a walk
weekends.
Saturday morning, just make it down there.
Are you watching The Voice? Did we talk
Yes.
about this last week?
I am watching The Voice. We're the Voice watchers.
That's right. Karen's out. Do either of you ladies watch The Voice? You
Blake
can't-
Shelton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You like Blake?
I like
Shelton,
Blake.
sure.
You guys don't have your headphones on, so we're still listening to Happy in the background.
Yeah.
Because I want to adopt Pharrell, and then I found out he's basically my age.
Is he?
Yeah, he's in his 40s. His
What?
40s. I know.
He looks so young.
I know.
What the heck?
But I love him
He is so nice.
because he's so nice, which
is.
makes me a little bit, now it's starting to be suspicious. Like, can you trust someone who is so very, very nice all the time?
And he
And
seems
happy.
so genuine
Yes,
and happy.
and happy.
And talented and just
And
sincere.
uplifting of everyone.
He is.
I liked the point where they said, what's her name, Gwen Stefani, that she's too nice also. So the guys were saying, oh, here, they're going to fight. They're going to duke it out for someone. Here comes the cotton balls. Here comes the powder puffs. But the fact that they're so positive
I love
about
that.
I stopped watching American Idol right away.
yeah.
I mean, I don't even know if I made it through the first season because I didn't like how mean they were.
Right.
Are they? I don't even know if they still are mean on American Idol. Are the judges mean? I know that Simon is gone, so he was the
Gone.
original mean judge.
When I watched last year with Harry Connick Jr. and Jennifer Lopez, and Keith Urban,
Okay.
they seemed a lot more positive and had they were fun. The interaction was fun, and stuff. So maybe I just don't watch it because I have The Voice and I have limited TV time, so I choose The Voice. But hopefully they've learned. I mean, because can you imagine taking that big of a risk and then just getting shredded?
It makes my
in front of
stomach
everybody,
hurt.
that's just not okay.
Sometimes
It's not
when they
okay.
show the kids that have, I think, there's a 14-year-old, there's a 15-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
How in the world do you have the courage to get up and do that?
Right. And I feel bad on The Voice, when they don't turn around their chairs. I'm like, oh, but then they give them instruction, and they've had people come back, and go on, and I love that. You can't choose everybody, and everybody's not, as good as they could
Everybody
be.
can't win.
But they give them constructive criticism
Real world.
and say, come back, do this, and then come back. Real world, exactly. Not shred them.
I always just wish that it always makes me wish that I could sing better. Because I sing
Me
great
too.
in the car and in the shower,
Yeah.
in the kitchen.
I really don't even try, but I wish I could sing.
I know.
Hey, let's take voice lessons, Tracy.
Let's look back at the beginning of the year when we said, here's what we're going to do this year.
I know, and we've done none of them.
We're going to knit we're going to we're going to do belly dancing.
We kind of did that.
Kind
you
of
and I
did. But Karen's thing, I think what pulled it all apart. Karen's thing is she wanted to go to a gun range.
No.
Shooting
She wanted to go out in a field with somebody.
and shoot.
Not a gun range. I think I could handle a gun range because it's in control and a little safer. I'm not going to an open field with Karen and a gun. I'm sorry. I tell her I've been shot once. I'm not going to repeat that. Come on.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that is just too funny.
That kind of like threw it all. And what was our other one?
I don't know what Brianna wanted to do. I can't remember.
Shoot. Oh, paint. Art.
Painting? Oh yeah, that's art.
You have 3 months left.
That's true.
Have to cram it all in.
But this was our big thing. Let's not buy each other presents. Let's just do things together.
Experiences.
We go out to
We've
lunch.
had experiences that we just didn't plan.
We've definitely had experiences. Okay. Is there anything else about the Making Strides walk that people need to know? Could you want to sign up in advance? Is it really just sign up starting at 7:30 on Saturday?
Well, if you want to sign up in advance, you certainly can. www.makingstrideswalk.org, and then you can put in our zip code here in Rochester and find our event. Or you're certainly welcome to just show up on Saturday morning. We'd be happy to have you either way.
Is this one of those things where this is held the same day all across the country, or do you get to pick your times?
No,
Okay. Because I bet that
Strides
you get
events
to
are
cover
held
them.
all across the country. We have 3 of them in Minnesota happening this weekend. So if you're not here in Rochester, but the
Wow.
Twin Cities or Mankato.
See, that's what I thought. Usually they do kind of try to concentrate them all at the same time.
Yes. Well, lots in October. That's when lots of communities choose to take up the fight against breast cancer. But we also have a few events that take place in the springtime, too, or late September. So it just varies on where you are. But here in Minnesota, Mankato, the Twin Cities, and Rochester on Saturday.
Cindy, and because you came here wearing the hat of honorary breast cancer survivor, you are not the official honorary survivor of the walk. But was there anything else that has popped into your mind to say, oh, that's something that I should include in our conversation? Stuff that people always like to hear that seems to resonate with folks.
You just put her on the spot. Wow.
Yeah, you did.
Well, she didn't know she knew what she was in for when she came in here.
I just think it's just a great event to support because the funds that they raise, the American Cancer Society, they help women get mammograms if you can't afford them, and that's a biggie, and they have a patient navigator that helps. I was going to just say, when you are hit with all of this information when you are first diagnosed, you can't process it all, and they have patient navigators that are so helpful, and they have a 24-hour helpline that not only can answer your cancer questions, they're just there for emotional support. So, if you are having a crying jag at 3 o'clock in the morning, you can call the helpline and someone will be there to talk to you.
And the money that goes to research, which for Olmsted County is actually more than 100% because monies from other areas come here too because of our research area.
Nice.
But I always will tell people the navigator piece is key to remember because even if I give you a pass that, okay, you won't ever get diagnosed with cancer, so you won't need this information. Wink, wink. Hopefully not.
Right.
But if you ever know someone who does, call the American Cancer Society because that is what they're there for, to help out. Thanks for being here, both ladies. Appreciate it. It was nice to meet you.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Thanks for being back, Cindy.
Very welcome.
It's 10:57 at KROC-AM.